Imagine waking up one morning and noticing something feels off. The sun isn't where it should be. The sky seems different, eerily still. You look at your clock, but time itself feels frozen. And then, the news hits. Emergency broadcasts flood every channel. Scientists confirm the unthinkable. The Earth has suddenly stopped spinning. That's right, our planet, which has been rotating at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour, or about 1,037 miles per hour, at the equator since it formed around 4.5 billion years ago, has abruptly come to a standstill. It sounds like a concept ripped straight from a sci-fi thriller, but what if, just what if, this bizarre and terrifying phenomenon actually happened? Buckle up, because the consequences are beyond anything Hollywood has ever imagined. To understand the chaos that would unfold, we need to grasp the sheer magnitude of what Earth's rotation means. Right now, everything, oceans, air, buildings, people, is moving with the planet's spin. Like passengers on a plane flying at cruising speed, we don't feel it because everything is moving together. But if that movement were to suddenly stop, the inertia, the tendency of objects to keep moving in a straight line, would tear our world apart in seconds. Imagine you're sitting in a car going 100 kilometers per hour, and you slam into a wall without a seatbelt. Now scale that up. The Earth stops spinning, but everything on the surface doesn't. The atmosphere, oceans, and everything not anchored deep into the crust would continue moving eastward at over 1,000 miles per hour. Cities would be torn apart. Skyscrapers would collapse. Vehicles, people, animals, entire forests, and even shallow parts of the ocean would be hurled eastward in a massive, deadly global windstorm. In the first few minutes, wind speeds across the planet would reach thousands of kilometers per hour. This wouldn't be a breeze, it would be more violent than the strongest hurricanes ever recorded. These supersonic winds would flatten everything in their path. Cities would be leveled, mountains could even be worn down. Anything above ground would be obliterated. Now let's talk about water. Oceans wouldn't just sit there quietly. Remember, they too were moving with the Earth's rotation. If the planet stops suddenly, those massive bodies of water would surge eastward at frightening speeds. Tsunamis taller than skyscrapers would crash over continents. Coastlines would vanish. Entire islands would be swept away. Low-lying nations could be gone within minutes. Imagine the oceans behaving like a giant water bucket swung in a circle and then suddenly released. The splash would be global. The floodwaters wouldn't just destroy everything, they'd reshape the geography of the planet. But the destruction doesn't end there. The Earth's rotation is responsible for the equatorial bulge, the fact that the planet isn't a perfect sphere but bulges at the equator due to centrifugal force. If the Earth stops spinning, this bulge would begin to collapse. The redistribution of mass would trigger massive earthquakes and volcanic eruptions as tectonic plates adjust to the new balance. Entire mountain ranges might shift. Volcanoes dormant for centuries could awaken with apocalyptic fury. The very crust of the Earth would groan and crack as the planet attempts to find a new equilibrium. Now, let's talk about something subtler but equally devastating: gravity and weight distribution. Currently, centrifugal force slightly counteracts gravity at the equator, making you weigh a bit less there than at the poles. If the Earth stopped, this force would vanish. People at the equator would instantly feel about 0.3% heavier. Not a big deal, right? But this sudden change would further stress buildings, bridges, and infrastructure, many of which are engineered with existing gravitational balances in mind. Time itself would shift. Right now, Earth's rotation defines day and night. One complete rotation equals 24 hours. If Earth stopped spinning but continued orbiting the Sun, we'd have a new day length. One full orbit, or 365 days, per day. That means 6 months of sunlight followed by 6 months of darkness. Half the planet would be scorched by continuous sun, turning deserts into death zones, drying up rivers, and pushing temperatures to levels we've never seen. The other half would freeze solid, plunging into an endless night, where plants can't grow, water turns to ice, and life becomes nearly impossible. The jet streams, those fast-moving ribbons of air that steer weather systems, would collapse. Weather patterns would change entirely. Without the Coriolis effect, which is driven by Earth's rotation, hurricanes wouldn't form as they do now. But don't think that's a relief. The new weather systems would be more extreme, more chaotic, and entirely unpredictable. Imagine mega storms that span entire continents, tornadoes lasting for days, rainfall so intense it could dissolve entire cities, and blizzards that bury countries. The climate would no longer be divided into familiar zones. Everything would be in flux. Magnetism, too, would be affected. Earth's magnetic field is generated by the motion of molten iron in its outer core, partially driven by the planet's rotation. If the Earth stopped spinning, the dynamo effect would weaken or even cease. Without a magnetic field, Earth would lose its shield against solar and cosmic radiation. The skies would be bombarded with high-energy particles. Satellites would fry. GPS systems would fail. Communication networks would collapse. The auroras, those beautiful northern and southern lights, would vanish, replaced by deadly radiation storms that could strip away parts of the atmosphere over time. Earth would become vulnerable, like a planet with no armor. And what about life? Humans aren't designed to survive in such chaos. Billions would die in the first day alone, from windstorms, tsunamis, falling buildings, and more. Those who survive would have to deal with a broken biosphere. Crops would fail. The food chain would collapse. Animals that rely on natural light cycles would be thrown into confusion. Pollination would stop. Livestock would die. The survivors would face starvation, disease, and cold. Some might flee toward the twilight zones, areas between the permanently lit and permanently dark sides. These narrow bands could have tolerable temperatures and limited sunlight, making them potential havens for survival. But they'd be small, overcrowded, and resource scarce. Wars would erupt over these habitable slivers of Earth. Water would become more valuable than gold. Entire countries would dissolve as governments fall and new power structures emerge based on access to sunlight and resources. Religion and philosophy would be shaken to their core. A global event of this magnitude would be seen by many as a divine punishment, an apocalyptic sign, or proof of simulation theory. Some might worship the surviving sun, while others may fall into despair. Societal norms would crumble. Humanity, if it survived, would enter a dark new chapter. And then comes the long-term question: could Earth ever spin again? The laws of physics say it's incredibly unlikely. To stop Earth's spin, an unimaginable external force must have acted upon it, an impact, a gravitational disruption, or an unknown cosmic event. To restart it would require an equally impossible amount of energy. Earth would be a scarred, barely rotating planet, spinning perhaps once every 1,000 years, if at all. Let's take a moment now to reflect on something deeper. Every second of every day, we take Earth's rotation for granted. It gives us time. It gives us sunrise and sunset. It distributes warmth. It keeps our magnetic shield strong. It ensures gravity behaves just right. It lets us live. We wake up, go to work, talk to friends, worry about bills, chase dreams, all while standing on a planet spinning through space faster than a bullet. We don't feel it, we don't think about it, but it's there, quiet, consistent, reliable. If it were to stop, even for a moment, everything we know would be shattered. So, in a way, this thought experiment isn't just about science. It's about gratitude. Gratitude for the delicate balance of nature, for the clockwork of the universe, for the unseen forces that make life not only possible, but beautiful. We live on a miracle, and its spinning core is just one of many wonders we rarely appreciate. What if the Earth stopped spinning? It would be the end of the world as we know it. But until that day, if it ever comes, maybe it's time to look up at the sky, feel the invisible spin beneath your feet, and say thank you to this amazing, rotating world we call home. Thanks for watching. If you find this video informative, then please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon for more updates.